shadows that shouldn't still exist. Past shadows that refuse to fade. The truth behind the Christmasness reveals what preservation made. The darkness shows what used to be before the light learned how to lie. When every shadow danced to free and wonder learned to terrify.
We tried to run. Of course we tried to run. But how do you escape when shadows themselves hunt you? Mrs. Claus led us deeper into the workshop's old wings, through corridors that shouldn't exist anymore. Behind us, we could hear them, thousands of shadows, each remembering what it used to be, flowing like dark water through the workshop's bones. The preserved children, now half shadow themselves, sang carols in languages that died before Christmas was born. The copper pots, Mrs. Claus muttered as we ran. They were supposed to contain it, channel it, control it. Her voice cracked, but he knew. He knew the old ways, before preservation, before control, when shadows were allowed to remember. The list followed us, floating just above my head, its pages fluttering with names that kept rewriting themselves. Each shadow that caught up with its preserved original caused another name to transform, the ink becoming something deeper than darkness. We found Bernard in the deepest basement, surrounded by broken preservation jars. But he wasn't running. He was welcoming them. "Look what she took from us," he said, his shadow now a writhing thing that stretched in impossible directions. Not just the children's shadows. Everything. Every dark space where wonder could grow. Every deep place where magic could root. She preserved it all, flattened it, controlled it. Mrs. Claus stepped forward, her face tight with ancient anger. "You don't understand what it was like before, when shadows were wild, when every dark corner could swallow a child whole, when Christmas itself was a hungry thing that fed on wonder and fear in equal measure." That's when we heard it. A sound like time itself unraveling. From every direction, the shadows converged, but they weren't attacking. They were showing us something. In their depths, I saw what Christmas used to be. What it really was, before preservation, before control, before we learned to wrap wonder in paper and tie it with bows. The workshop began to remember too. Walls melted away to reveal older stones beneath. The ceiling peeled back to show stars that died eons ago. And in the centre of it all, the list hung suspended, its pages now completely black, except for one phrase written in light: "The old ways return." I found a mirror in the chaos. My reflection showed something ancient wearing my skin, something that remembered when Santa Claus wasn't a gift giver, but a keeper of darker traditions. Mrs. Claus saw it too. Her reflection smiled with too many teeth. "It's not just shadows," she whispered, watching her preservation jars continue to shatter one by one. "It's everything we tried to contain, everything we tried to make safe, everything Christmas used to be before we learned to fear the dark." I should close now. The shadows are still spreading, still teaching everything they touch how to be deep again. The preserved children dance in the darkness, remembering what they were before preservation made them flat. And the list. The list keeps writing names in languages that existed before language itself. Remember, when you see Christmas lights twinkling in windows, they weren't always meant to welcome. Sometimes they were warnings, desperate attempts to keep the darkness at bay, to stop the shadows from remembering what they used to be.
is now unchained. What was lost has been regained. Darkness shows what light concealed. Ancient truth shall be revealed.